Thank you, Speaker. I rise today to speak about the future of work in New South Wales. In his recent book, Techno-Feudalism, What Killed Capitalism, Greek-Australian economist Yanis Varoufakis posits that the rapid emergence of new cloud technology, particularly sophisticated algorithms, combined with the ongoing impacts of the 2008 global financial crisis, have fundamentally changed capitalism. In a traditional market economy, rational actors are said to buy and sell commodities, including their labour, in the service of their own needs, interests and goals. Feudalism, in its most basic form, is a system where peasants or serfs serve their lords through labour such as farm work and in return are permitted to live within the fiefdom. Far from the freedom of choice ostensibly available under capitalism, serfs' living and working conditions were entirely dependent on the generosity of their masters. Under techno-feudalism, Varoufakis argues individuals are both the consumers of goods and the products themselves, as massive tech companies generate earnings from harvesting data and content from their users. Varoufakis also talks about what he calls cloud proles, exploited workers in factories and warehouses that serve these billionaires, the most well-known and notorious being Amazon. The horrific conditions workers face in Amazon fulfillment centres are well documented. Workers are denied toilet breaks, forced to work in unsafe conditions of extreme temperatures and have their every move closely monitored across their shifts. One employee in a UK fulfillment centre described the conditions as slave-like. Amazon has also engaged in significant union-busting activities, paid consultants huge sums to devise anti-union campaigns, and engaged in intimidation and character assassination tactics against union leaders and employees who wish to unionise. I'm concerned that this brutal US-style treatment of workers is increasingly infecting other workplaces in Australia. 5 Woolworths distribution warehouses are currently on strike, including one in Erskine Park in Western Sydney, demanding fair pay and a national agreement for warehouse workers across the country. One of their most pressing demands, however, is that Woolworths abandon their plans for a punitive system of productivity quotas for workers, as well as reduce the extreme degree of surveillance to which workers are currently subjected to. Woolies warehouse workers report they are constantly surveilled by cameras and management and are routinely questioned about the length of toilet breaks or the speed of their work. This constant surveillance has devastating psychological effects, leaving workers feeling stressed, anxious and isolated from their colleagues. Further, Woolworths intends to implement a system of productivity targets, which require workers to be, quote, 100% productive 100% of the time, while performing this laborious and physically demanding work. An unrealistic requirement in any job, these productivity targets will be set at an arbitrary level, not accounting for personal characteristics such as age, ability, injury, or even pregnancy. Workers who fall below the target will face disciplinary measures, including termination. One mistake will put workers on probation for 12 weeks, meaning most people will constantly be under the risk of losing their jobs. But it raises the question, how has it gotten to this point? Are these the kind of conditions we want to be imposed on workers in New South Wales? Frankly, it is inhumane. No person should be forced to work under these conditions. I have visited a fulfilment centre in Moorebank, and while it is incredibly efficient, it is no place to put a human being in the middle of. They are there effectively as machines, not human beings. Have we now got to the point where workplaces, it's a privilege to work in a workplace where you can have a bit of a side chat and a bit of a smoker? Is that now just a privilege for the wealthy? This technological ability to surveil and strictly police the conduct of workers or replace their jobs entirely is already available and becoming increasingly sophisticated. Developments in AI will only exacerbate this. This is not just a problem for Woolies workers. It's something that every worker in this country and in this state should be very concerned about. We should not let the possibilities of technology define how people live and work. Now is the time to decide what kind of society we want to have and how we will manage changes in technology and the functioning of capitalism. Largely thanks to Labor governments and our labour movement, Australia has historically had strong worker protections and a good balance between work, rest and play. There is no reason why Australia cannot be a workers' paradise again, in which ordinary workers come to work with a good quality of life, access to meaningful unionised work, education and healthcare. Just as we tamed the worst excesses of capitalism during the 20th century, I believe we can do so again in the 21st.